Good morning. Okay. I'm going to explain to you why I think we have been looking in the wrong direction in regards to Micah Miller the whole time. And to some, it may sound outlandish, and that's fine. If it does, please don't get into my chat and start telling me off and whatever. For the ones who like to dig, like a mystery, like to find the answers, please listen and hear me out, okay? Number one, if you listen to the 911 call carefully, the person on the call, which I don't believe is Micah, the person on the call says Bear Bluff. B-E-A-R. Bear Bluff. Not Fair Bluff, which is an F. Very clearly, Bear Bluff. Bear Bluff is in South Carolina. It happens to also be an hour and 14 minutes from Lumber River State Park. Why does this matter? I'll explain. Fair Bluff is in another county called Columbus County. And both me and Veronica Adams went to, not went in person, but contacted that county asking for if any calls came through on April 27, 2024, between the hours of 1 p.m. and 5 p.m., covering the whole time. Nothing. There's nothing. Makes sense, because they're not saying Fair Bluff. They're saying Bear Bluff. Okay. It also always bothered me, and you can also look this up, it's available all over online. When Robeson County of North Carolina Sheriff's Department made the announcement on May 13th, Newsweek has it, New York Post has it, all these different news outlets have it, so you can find it, where they made a request. They requested the help of the FBI and Attorney General's Office of South Carolina. Why would they do that? Because I believe that Robeson County, in their investigation, found that this death did not occur in Robeson County nor in North Carolina. How did they come to that conclusion? One, the person on the phone says Bear Bluff. Number two, they can't locate, or the dispatcher makes very clear on the phone, I don't think you're in Robeson County. How is that possible? How can you block your location? Very simple. You can actually call 911 on airplane mode. Just like when your phone is turned off, you haven't paid your cell phone bill, you can still call 911. If you look it up, that is under FCC Part 15 warning and 911 call routing, and it'll explain to you that every phone, Apple or Android, has this ability. Okay, stay with me, okay? Agatha May does a show last night, and on the show, it was the sixth of a series, sixth show of a series, on a private group, a not so private group as she refers to it. And she's talking about a character in that group called Betty. And she's talking about how Betty is very tech savvy. Mentions burner phones, and mentions that they tried to bypass Gmail with a VPN, which has to do with changing your location. Then Agatha May, at the end of the show, makes a very compelling argument. She thinks it's J.P. Miller. If you watched the show already, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, please watch it. Why is that important? Because a tech-savvy person would understand how to do these things and make it look like that the death happened in Robeson County, and block the location and alter the voice. So we've talked about this, right? How can you do that? If you've ever watched, for example, on YouTube, there's a scam catcher, or there's what you call him, Kit Boga. And they've been able to prove, him and many others have been able to prove that there's a scam that's been going around where scammers will call old people, grandparents, and they'll play the voice of the grandson or the granddaughter saying, I need bail money. And the grandparent, of course, thinks that this is their kid. This is a real-time phone call. Is it possible? Yeah. I was able to go on the Play Store, I have an Android, and find for free a voice modifier changer. And in that, it gives you have a pro version that you can buy, which of course you could do much more under that version. But even the free version gave me the ability. Now, of course, I haven't done it yet because I need my Mensa geek husband to help me with it. But gives you the ability to upload any vocal you want. And yes, through Windows 10 and 11, you can, on a PC of course, take a snippet of any voice you find on the internet. We all know that Micas' voice is available on the internet. That's why it doesn't sound like her. When you do a voice comparison, and CJ did that last night, you could tell it's not her. The fisherman does an interview, and I think it's with the PI. It was played the other night again on CJ's, not last night, but a few nights ago on CJ's show. And it was multiple interviews. And one of them I remember was with a PI. And in that interview, he mentions the fisherman, and I don't even know why he mentions it, about a part in the river or off the river where you can load and unload things. I have to go back and listen to it, but I remember hearing that. Okay, so what do I think has happened? I think the crime happened in South Carolina. The reason why I think that is because the blood pooled on her back. So she'd been laying on her back for quite some time for that to show up. Bear Bluff is only an hour away. So it's not as if it's impossible to have either done this in that area or just made a faux pas on the call, or passed it. I couldn't tell you. This is why I'm calling on you guys for help. I think the phone was in the now she's gone. They have her phone. They're scanning through it, making it look like she's looking for all of these parks. So this shows up on her phone. Whatever phone that they are on to call 911 is in airplane mode to disguise where they're located. And why would that, what would make me think that that's possible? Because everyone that's tried to call from the location of that river can't. Even the guy that finds her body, all you hear is, there's no good connection. However, that 911 call comes out loud and clear. I believe they're in transit when they're making this call. And when they're done making it clear that Micah Miller is going to be at this location and that she's doing this to herself because this is the setup, they go and bring her, I think by boat, because the fisherman says, loads her up, brings her there, dumps her, puts a log on her. I don't know how a dead person could do that to themselves. Puts her face down, not realizing that the blood's gonna pool in the back. Throws a couple of casings, throws on one side, one place, throws her bag in another place, takes off. And figures, the fisherman will be the one to alert the law. Here, I have her bag, her ID's in it. She's over there. And they, within 20 minutes, find her. Okay. Now we got it. It's documented. She did this to herself. She was found in this area. Nobody else was there. We wash our hands. We move on. No, you don't. And I think that's why within 1 week, Robeson was able to go, this didn't happen here. There's no evidence this happened here. People have brought up the evidence. I'm not going to bring it up here because it's disgusting. But there's no bioevidence that it happened in that area. Do you understand? So with seeing all that and hearing the 911 call, and they go, well, they're mentioning Bear Bluff. That's in South Carolina. So this crime didn't happen here. So let's call the FBI and the AG's office in South Carolina and say, look, I can't investigate this because it didn't happen here. She was dumped here, is where we found her, but it didn't happen here. And so they call in the assistance of that state because that's where it happened. Do you get me? So if this makes sense to you, if you believe that this is maybe the direction or the answer to what may have happened to her, let's talk about it. Let's look into it. I'm working on the voice modifier, and I'm looking to get a clip. Of course, I can't do it. I need my husband to help me out. To get a clip of her voice and to see if I or even he can do sound like her. And then when we can, unless you guys can get to it quicker and do it yourselves, great, please do, because I think this is exactly what happened. Or at least we're in the right area. Okay? So there's that. Forgive me that I didn't put on a tinfoil hat. But I really believe, and I've been praying about it, going, Lord God, if I'm off track, please. But I'm sorry. Why would a sheriff's department of one state call on the help of the FBI in another state? Why did we not hear Bear Bluff? Why did we all assume Fair Bluff? Because it was nearby. It's not saying Fair Bluff. It's saying Bear Bluff. And Bear Bluff is in South Carolina. Makes sense. Why Robeson would call on South Carolina? Why can't the dispatcher see the location? Or why does she make the comment, I don't think you're in Robeson County? Because she can't detect this call in Robeson County. Why? Because it's in airplane mode. Still can make the call. And it's obvious that where Micah was found was all staged. Badly, but it was staged. So that's my take. Please, if you don't agree with me, don't argue with me, call me names, or start saying stuff in the chat, because you know I'm just going to get rid of you. But if you see my point in any of this, let's join forces and let's find the truth. So until I see you again, God bless.